Dom. Joining me is Kim, Nikki, and Billy. AKA Jake. How's it going?
Why are we doing this?
I don't know. Why did you show up in full makeup?
Because I wanted to. Okay, this is the shit I do.
I know. Oh, it was great. Just before we started, I fake called Jake and just started fake talking to him about something, and then he threw his camera on and surprised them, and the look on their face was priceless because they didn't expect Jake to be here. So it was really funny.
With as much hate that I've heard from Jake about Saw in the past and the recent past, it's like I wouldn't have ever expected him to be here. So.
He's gonna be the one that hates it.
Let me tell you about Saw. I do not like the series. But I don't like it. I love the first movie, as I think that's the general consensus among, the general public. I do love the first movie. I like aspects of this one. Fourth one I could watch, and I do genuinely enjoy the sixth one. Overall, the series as a whole, I don't like it. But there's a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm. There is.
As a horror fan, I can't ignore that this series exists and that, they always crank these things out. And, for better or for worse, they've become kind of a staple of the holiday.
They have. Kim, you were a big fan of the first one. Ending completely caught you off guard. I mean, you knew a little bit about the movie and stuff but it still kind of caught you off guard. What do you feel about the twist for this movie?
Well, the fact is that I called a few things. So the twist is not as big because, like I said, I called some of it, and then when we got towards the end, I pretty much knew where it was leading. I guess I wasn't 100% sure, and I guess that's where maybe you get twist a little bit. But I literally called a little detail from the first one that was purely a hunch that I was going off of, going by the body frame of our pig, and it was a female. I assumed it was a female, and obviously that was revealed here that it is female.
Yeah, and we're not done with that. We'll actually find out more about that in the next movie, so you'll get more detail on that, so stay tuned for that. Nikki, as someone who's just avidly not been a fan of the series at all, coming into Saw 2 with a fresh look at it, what is your opinion on this movie?
I had seen it a long time ago, and I had since forgotten pretty much everything. I was just checking our audio. Sorry, and I don't know. I went in hating it before even seeing a trailer or anything. So it surprised me that it was better than I thought, because I literally forgot the whole movie.
Right.
It was like seeing brand new. So it surprised me. There are elements that are okay, and there are elements where I'm like, what the actual fuck were they thinking? But Saw 2 is not where it gets bad, in my opinion, anyways.
Mm-hmm. Now, for me, the most impressive part about Saw 2 is the amount of time that it took for this movie to come out and make a story that made sense. It fit within the confines of the first movie, within the universe of it. Didn't really give any contradictions to the first movie whatsoever. There's one minor contradiction. It was an oversight on their part. I don't know exactly who it was, but it's so minor, you're never going to notice it unless you pay excruciating detail. And that is the shackle for Adam was on the opposite foot. It's such a minor... I mean, it's big, whatever, but it's such a minor detail because it's such a small scene, and you only get to see it for a fleeting moment, that you're never going to notice that as a casual viewer.
Whatevs.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I was more like,
Nor
oh,
did I
look, there's
care.
Adam.
Yeah.
So...
It's like, Adam was so last Saw, we don't need him.
Yeah, so
He was 2 months. He was so 2 months ago.
Right. So this movie takes
Literally in the
place-
movie 2 months ago.
This movie takes place, actually, I did some more research into it. I thought it was a couple months after the first Saw. It's not. It's a full year. Or 1 year after the first Saw movie.
That would explain the situation of Adam in the bathroom. That would explain why he looks the way he looks.
They're more fermented.
Yeah.
A little bit mummified, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the big twist on this movie was that the events of which you thought were taking place were not happening live. They were pre-recorded, and in doing so, Detective Matthews believed his son was in the house dying this whole time, when in fact, from the moment Detective Matthews stepped foot into Jigsaw's lair, he was already locked in the safe on a timer, and his game was literally to sit there and talk to Jigsaw, and if he did so, he would have found his son in a safe location. Literally, in a safe.
Now, that part was a twist.
Yes,
That part I didn't. That's the
that
part I
caught
didn't.
me off guard. I was like, play on words, you jerk.
Yeah, he said a safe location, then the second time he mentioned, he said in a safe and secure state. So, like, he mentioned it a couple times, and going back, watching it, multiple viewings, it's something you're going to pick up on very, very easily. And, like, the police are tracing the signal, but the signal are in a house that it's not the house at all. It's a house, it looks like it was built by the same construction company. Like, they may have built multiple of these apartment complexes across. It's a very similar style house, but it is not the house. The house Eric went into when Jigsaw said he was going to take him take him to the house. He never said he was going to take him to his son. He said, "I will take you to the house." So he's very, very careful with his words. So that's something you have to keep in mind moving forward. He's very, very careful with his words. But when they go to the house, you can see the lights are all out. Like, something clearly happened, like, between all the lights are off. The lights were just on when we were watching them run through the house, right? And then as he gets to the bodies, you can see they're a little more decomposed than if they had just died moments ago.
Yeah.
It looks like they'd been dead for a couple hours, maybe even a day. I don't know how long ago the house twist took place, but it was more than an hour ago.
There was enough time for Amanda to clean herself up and look presentable when she locked the detective in that bathroom. So
it was at least, we know for a fact, it was at least 3 hours, because the police came in the house. 3 hours. That's how long the timer was running. The son was locked in the safe. So we know that, and the house took about 3 hours for the doors to open. So it had to have happened. The start of it had to have happened about 6-7 hours prior to this, at the very least. So, in terms of that, what did you guys think of Detective Matthews as a character?
I don't care about any of these people.
as a character, Detective Matthews is an asshole.
Yeah.
He's a dirty cop, and he's
we
an
don't know.
asshole.
Which is why he gets his comeuppance. But, like, here's the thing. Who are we supposed to be rooting for?
Jigsaw.
No, I don't fucking care about Jigsaw.
That's
I
what
think
here's-
we're
here's-
supposed
here's
to
the
be
thing
rooting
about-
for the kid.
Yeah.
Am I
we're
bad
supposed
to be the one
but
that wants to root for the serial killer too?
No, I don't want to root for anybody. I don't even want to root for the killer. And, like, so, like, unlike other series where, like, Friday the 13th, which is my favorite series, I fucking care about Jason. I fucking love Jason. And, I mean, look what the fuck. I made this earlier today because, like, I love him that much. But,
I want to see that. That's awesome.
yeah, this is awesome. I am proud of myself. I did that. But I care about Jason, and partly because, like, he has a backstory, and he is sympathetic because he was just an innocent kid who just happened to be deformed, and, he was neglected by the stupid-ass camp counselors who were having sex in the shed, and then he drowned. So, like, that's how you make a character sympathetic. You don't make a character sympathetic by just pulling the I have cancer shit and then expect me to care, because I don't. And so so we learn that the killer, John Kramer, he, after being diagnosed with cancer, he attempts suicide. And he fails because he's such a failure that he can't even kill himself correctly. So he has this newfound appreciation of life. So how does he celebrate that? And how does he teach that to other people? He kills them. And yes, you can make the argument that he gives them the tools to escape. But here's the thing. The tools that he uses to give them to escape are fatal.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this, well, most of the time. I mean, I'm sure giving someone AIDS at that time was fatal, but you
die?
No, she didn't. But Amanda,
No.
it's Amanda.
To escape. Michael in the death mask at the beginning of the movie.
Well, yeah, but he was fucking
stupid. To escape.
Well, he was fucking stupid, but Amanda's Amanda. I mean, she's in on the whole fucking thing, and that's one of the twists of this.
Yeah, she wasn't poisoned. She had a leg up on everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the only downfall she had during that whole thing was getting shoved into the pit.
Yeah.
But
And so-
that asshole, I'm so glad he died. I was, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like,
Again, I don't care about these people because they're fucking assholes. And John Kramer has this. They try to make him all philosophical and like really deep. He's saying that those who don't love life don't deserve life. Okay, bullshit. Just because somebody doesn't want to fucking, have some fatal wounds on their face and or body doesn't mean they don't love life. And you say that man has lost their survival instinct. No, we still have it. We just don't have to use it because we're not fucking animals. And if you really want people to appreciate their naturalist instincts, then you would throw them into the woods with no clothes, no tools, nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
except for
I
the skin
completely
on their
agree.
back. And that's,
Discovery's done that.
it's a
well, yeah.
valid argument. It is.
well, yeah, but like,
Well,
that's what
naked
you
and
would do. You don't put people in a house with your fucking toys and then expect them to do what you want.
I mean, but they are doing what he wants.
Well, yeah, because these characters are fucking stupid, and like I will get into like each and every one of them about why I
Well,
don't. like them.
except the first guy, because he said, "Don't put the key in the hole." And the guy's like, "I'm putting the fucking key in the hole."
This could have easily have been avoided if you didn't look directly into the peephole. Because like the only way for this to work is if somebody looked directly into that thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, not necessarily. They could have been standing in front of it, or
Yeah.
This is true.
on the other side of the room in front of it. So it didn't have to be directly looking through the peephole. But yeah, I get your point.
That being said, that's like the only trap in this film that I don't like.
I
All
agree.
the other ones, I genuinely do like them, and that's one of the things I do like about this series are the traps. And some of them are creative, and some of them are fucking stupid, like that one.
I agree. So let's get started. The first trap we see is with Michael. We learn he is an informant. He basically has the
Snitch.
same role as Adam in terms of he's a voyeur, he takes pictures, he spends his time looking at people. It's pretty much the role of Adam from the first movie.
Except he's a snitch.
Yes, this one is a snitch. And he's put into this Venus flytrap type death mask with nails and spikes and all this kind of stuff.
I'm trying to think of what the whole body ones are called.
Iron Maiden.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So it's a face one.
It's
A face Iron Maiden.
Yeah, it's the man in the iron mask.
With spikes.
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
Michael is basically Leonardo DiCaprio.
I beg to differ, but
That's-
okay,
that's-
continue.
I said
It's a big
basically. I didn't say he was.
Not even basically.
And he had the key surgically inserted behind his eye. He had to use a scalpel and a mirror that were in the room to cut the key out in the same fashion that Amanda had to cut through her dead cellmate's stomach to get the key out from last movie. So there's a lot of parallels to the first movie just in this first scene. And that's what I really like about this particular trap is it's got so many throwbacks to the first movie in 2 minutes, because we have bear trap type thing first and foremost. We have the guy that's like Adam. We have the situation like Amanda to escape. Except this one, everybody wanted to see the reverse bear trap go off. They wanted to see what that actually looked like on screen to a human being, and we didn't get to see that. So for this one,
No,
we
everything
kind of
was pretty
got
much
that.
contained.
Yeah.
I don't know about the ripping of it. I don't know if I want to miss it.
So for this,
No.
we kind of got that,
Yeah, but we didn't get to see any of it. It's the same
So-
effect. but
The
we just
actual
didn't see it.
snapping part wasn't bothering me, and the fact that I don't have a problem with touching my eye because like I can touch my eye,
Yeah.
so that's not one of my sorry, Nikki. But the sticking with his eye with at
The
that,
scalpel. I mean, you could almost hear when the scalpel was like what's the bone
slicing
called?
into the.
The bone, right? That you could hear it grinding on it. And I was like, oh God,
Because it's your eye socket. Yes.
your eye socket. Yeah, well, I think the actual bone around your eye
I
has
can't think of what it's called. I know
has
what
an
you're talking
actual
about.
name. Yeah, I don't know the name, but yeah, that shit, it was grinding, and I was cringing a little bit. A little bit.
Well, my fact is that I scratched my cornea and with my own nail,
Yeah.
and that's horrible. It literally feels like you have something in your eye for like days until it heals. So imagine to like start carving. I'm just like,
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now, and if I was in Michael's situation, I would die too. I couldn't cut my eyeball. I couldn't do it. There's no way.
You'd probably die anyway. If you did try to cut your eyeball, who the fuck knows how to do surgery on their eye?
There's
not
a lot of
necessarily you can
major
live without
vessels.
your eye if you
You
did it right.
Yeah, but if you don't know what kind of vessels are behind your eye and stuff like that, you're gonna cut something and bleed out.
And for
Exactly.
reference, Michael was located in one of the utility corridors of a subway tunnel. So, though he could not be heard from where he was, he still, upon leaving, would have found access to people to help him pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm thinking he could have lived if he would have stopped panicking like a crazy person.
Yeah, if
He
cut-
panicked.
If
He
he
did.
cut his
He did
eye
last
out,
little.
got the key, he could have lived. He could have.
He wasted a lot of time panicking.
Yeah. Well, so did Amanda. Well, no, Amanda didn't
I
really.
would too in that situation.
They lengthened that
I
scene.
wouldn't cut my eyeball. I might cut around it, and try to get in from behind, like go in through like just under my cheekbone,
young-
or
like
like
young
in the
Sox-
side. But I could
That's
not
not gonna work.
physically
He
slice my
he
eye.
literally went. As the thing was, he didn't go like he literally went for like his eyelid. Like he was literally in there. I'm just like,
Nope.
And I want to talk about these damn time limits that they're given. Half of that
Yeah,
time
60
is
seconds.
just half of that time is just listening to the damn tape.
No, the track
No,
doesn't
there-
actually go off until he
Yeah.
until he got out of the chair. He ripped the thing off. That's what started the timer.
Yeah, there was like a wire into the mechanism, and as soon as he got a certain distance away, it ripped out, and that's when the timer started, which is 60 seconds. I agree that you can't. No.
So the next, and I'm not gonna talk about Detective Matthews as a whole until we discussed it a little bit, but we'll go into that more. But I'm gonna talk more about the people in the house. So we had Gus, who was the unfortunate one to be looking through the keyhole. He was never mentioned by name in the movie.
I would have liked to know why he was there. Like we found out what everyone else did. But we never did know.
I'm not gonna give you specifics, but I will say some of these characters may return.
That means they will return.
We not all of them. Some of them.
I hope Douche Nozzle doesn't come
So we may get some information on some of them.
back. I'd explain that very well. Douche.
Well, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. 'Cause
Then we had Daniel, of course, and he was just kind of brought in by unfortunate circumstances, and he did have a bad kind of rap. He's been on the verge of juvie. He's kind of like get your shit together kind of thing.
He's being a stupid
But
kid.
He was also never in any danger in the house other than the other people.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He wasn't there because of him. He was there because of his dad. So
Yeah.
there was no point. He did Jigsaw when he didn't want his
Was
dad.
he
Right.
added to the house after the gas was released, or was the gas being?
From my understanding through like director's commentary and certain things, he was injected with the quote-unquote antidote before entering the house, and he was injected again upon leaving the house. Just
Okay.
as safety precaution to make sure it whatever. Because you do see at the end of the movie before Detective Matthews goes down into the trap, there is a syringe that has been used that we did not see get used that came from the safe.
What if
Right.
he tried to do some of those tasks and ended up killing himself?
Jigsaw's pretty calculated in that, and I think he knows Daniel wouldn't have done that, especially when these things are addressed to other people.
Yeah, like they're prompted. They're usually, except for that one dumb chick. Anyways,
I
they're
mean,
usually prompted with the tape.
but still, these people don't fucking follow directions.
I mean,
So,
yeah,
what makes-
he could
so
have been the
what
one
makes-
that what jackass pushed into the pit.
Exactly, or he could have been the one standing in front of the fucking door.
Yeah.
Like, if he had just been, like, standing slightly adjacent to that guy, he still probably could have been hit. So that's why this particular movie, I like it. But anything that has to do with these damn characters and the convenience of a lot of these traps, I don't particularly like. Because there's a whole plethora of things that could go wrong that would ruin the entire plan.
Well, of course, but there's also stuff like when we're watching the movie, Kim was like, "And just break down the door," and then they literally break down the door, and there's one of those metal security bars that you see in store shops, you know, especially in like malls and stuff like that, over the front, and then so that literally goes to show you at that point, Jigsaw has calculated pretty much.
It's just funny. You're driving down the road. Why the fuck does that house have bars?
Well, but then, you know, the moment when the cops broke in at the end, when the cops broke through the door, I'm like, where'd the metal bars go all of a sudden? That's not the right house.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that. Then we had Obi, right? Or Obi, as he preferred to be called.
Obi.
Who...
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He's a con man. Literally and figuratively burned people. And we find out he's the one that kidnapped the others. Brought them to the house. So his trap is he's got to go into the furnace where, you know, symbolizing the burning that he's done to other people. There's 2 antidotes, one for himself and one for a person of his choosing. And then he's prompted with, in hell, only the devil can help you out. So,
Which this is another thing that, okay, so there's a little devil drawn on the... We never address it. He never does anything with it. It just kind of, it's there. It's like, oh, look, you see the... Oh, so it has something to do with...
He saw it, but he was flipping out. He was so scared. Like, and it was at the other end of the furnace where the fire had already started. So he's like, and he's like already burning.
But here's another thing that was never, like, it never came up, was when he was walking around the furnace, he took off one of the little metal turn knobs on top of it and threw it across the floor.
Right. He kind of had an idea of what was going to go down. So he did that so nobody could turn it on while he was in there, not knowing that Jigsaw had already triggered this.
Rigged it.
Yeah, it's already rigged to go off. So, like I said, he's very calculated in terms of what he's doing. So upon going in, he goes in, he gets the syringe, he undoes one, nothing happens. The second syringe, upon pulling it, triggers the spring-loaded door to close. It's now locked. No one can open it from the outside.
So
and the fire starts right in front of it on the inside, so he could not get to that. He tried pushing it, he tried kicking it, he couldn't budge it.
My question is to Jigsaw, because I know he's never going to answer me, but like, okay, so the guy did a selfless act. He was going to get that second antidote for somebody else. So you punish him.
Again, here's where the inconsistencies come in. Again, you want people to value life, yet some of your tasks involve killing other people.
I will say that a lot more of motives and stuff, especially surrounding the questionable things, are explained in Saw 3.
Yeah, but I don't fucking care. We're talking about this one.
Right.
And if you want people to value life, why do some of your tasks involve other people killing other people? And punishing those who want to help other people.
Like I said, I know we're talking about this movie. We will have this discussion again at next movie, and it will shed a lot of light, and it will explain a lot of things. And it's something that the series is great about doing, setting one thing up in one movie and giving you the answer in the next movie.
Well, there's a
To
difference.
understand everything, you have to watch them all.
Well, yeah, but there's a difference between
It's a
being vague
puzzle.
about something and yes, it's a puzzle, but there's a difference between being vague about something and revealing it later and just completely contradicting yourself from the previous installment.
It's not a contradiction, though.
Yeah, it is.
No, I 100% is not, and I will guarantee you that, and you will see when we discuss Saw 3.
Oh no, I
just
don't
like
have
in Saw
to.
3,
I don't have to see it. I've seen it, but
just like in Saw 3, there is a piece of paper that comes up in the movie, and you sit there at the end of the movie going, what the hell was that paper about? You find that out in Saw 4, etc., and it goes down the list. So they set things up and answer them in the next movie. That's
what I'm saying is the motives that were intended for this film, as of right now, that they were trying to make it out to be, is completely different in other installments. Now, that's not to say that had they been vague about the ones here and not exactly spelling them out, that's okay. The thing is, that's not what they did.
Well, you do remember also someone else took over the reins, so
Yeah.
things can change a little bit.
And I don't like copycat killers, but in this one it's justified because, this is not somebody who just heard about these murders and tried to imitate them. This is someone who has experience.
feel-
firsthand.
It's not really
It's been with
copycat,
the
it's-
person,
No,
it's not really
she was
copycat, it's an
working.
accomplice than
Yeah, she was
continuing the work.
She was like an apprentice in this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it works, and that's why the big reveal at the end with Amanda, who was in the house the whole time, really works. And Amanda didn't have a trap designated to her that we saw. There's a couple people in the house that didn't have traps dedicated to them, as we saw. For example, we didn't see a trap for Jonas. We didn't see a trap for Laura. We didn't see one for Gus. And we didn't see one for Amanda or Daniel. That's not
Well,
to say
I think I
there
immediately
weren't traps in the house for them.
Addison, the trap that she got stuck in, we don't know whose trap that was.
Who's
Because-
Addison?
It was Addison's trap.
Was it?
It
I
had
mean,
her
'cause she
name-
didn't-
It had her name on the envelope. She
And
pulled
she
the
just
envelope,
tossed it,
ripped
okay.
She
and
did,
put
she
the
did,
tape
she's kind of-
through it. Yeah.
What a
Again, these
dummy.
people don't follow directions. I mean, even if you did follow directions, you probably still
She
died.
was like
So-
acting like she was high.
Well, the nerve gas has literally broken down a lot of muscle and stuff in her body. Her brain is not completely there. We started
Yeah.
seeing all of them start going a little loopy, toward the
But
end.
feeling sick, getting angry, whatever, she literally was acting like she was smiling and
I mean,
like
it
she was
could
drunk
have.
or on like
The nerve gas, I assume, affects people in different ways. Maybe it decided
Sure,
to
I can
break
do that.
down a part of her brain that made her just happy-go-lucky at that point.
Yeah, the brain's a very complicated thing, and depending on what is being deteriorated, a lot of it affects mood, emotion, things like
Mhm.
that.
there was no thought process in that at all. It was just like,
No,
oh, let's
she was
take
just
my
like,
hand
ho
up.
ho ho.
Carlos
Let
in
me
chat
just
is
put
saying,
my
guys, there was
stuff
no
here.
gas. Haven't you ever wondered why they were scratching their arms? I honestly think they were injected with the poison. No, it was definitely a nerve
No.
gas. We see the vents, and we see the vents releasing it.
Yeah,
And
and Jigsaw said it was a gas.
it was a gas that broke down
But he
your
lies.
nervous
So.
system. So in your nervous system is your muscles, your nerves, all that kind of stuff. Things that will make you itch, have the sensation when you're losing your body, when your muscles and your nerves are literally deteriorating inside of your body from the inside out. You're gonna have itching and burning sensations and
Well, think of just for instance, like the nerves in like your hand or whatever, like it's carpal tunnels, or like half your hand falls asleep, and stuff starts to wake up. Starts to get. Sometimes it'll be like, at least I feel like a little itchy every once sometimes. Just like my feet, you fuck balls asleep. I'm like, oh god.
So we had that. Then we had Gus. Gus was the Sutai. We didn't really get much about him. Xavier. Xavier, we found out was a drug dealer.
Douche nozzle.
Douche nozzle.
That's who douche nozzle is.
I was just calling him Diphthong throughout the
Oh,
entire film.
Diphthong.
Fucking douche.
Diphthong.
And then his trap was to go into a pit of needles and to find a key. And he had a couple minutes to do that.
Was it heroin or it was something?
It was
It was something.
it was something, but
They were all probably different things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
true.
probably
It
real.
was probably a
How-
mix.
And I don't know where you got all of those, Mister. These must take a lot of planning. I mean, if it did take an entire year, then like good on you. Um, but I think these were used needles that probably. I don't think the problem was that they were filled with something. I just think that they were just hypodermic needles that other people used.
Yeah. Ugh.
They may not have even been used.
They look brand new. They didn't look used, but man, that made me turn.
You know, it
'Cause I was
doesn't
just like,
matter. It was disgusting.
They were
It's
they were a
gross.
little on the rusty side though.
Hmm.
So
Like if they've been sitting around for a while, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
So I'm sure
Tetanus.
I'm sure Amanda was dealt with the tetanus shot, afterwards. But she went into
Funny
this
because sometimes
Better
the
have-
tetanus shot hurts more.
She went into this house full knowing what was going on. So she went in injected with the cure in her system.
Yep.
Daniel was probably injected with the cure during his system, and he was definitely injected with the cure afterwards.
And you know the beginning. It's near the beginning of the scene when they're all waking up in the house, and Amanda's the last one to wake up. We all remember Jigsaw in the first movie at the very end, where he was laying there the whole fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretending. Well, so was Amanda.
And she was laying in the same position.
Mm-hmm. Then we get Addison, which we mentioned. Addison had the trap where she had to stick her hands in the boxed razor wire that went up, so you put it in, but you can't pull it out, kind of deal. Absolutely.
That's why you only use one
absolutely.
hand.
Right, which she did do, and then she went in and she pulled the whole needle apart, and the contents of it spilled in. And after it does that, she then sticks her other hand in.
It was all kinds of stupid. The whole scene was she was stupid.
Like we said, her brain has been deteriorating under this nerve gas. She's not thinking clearly.
I don't know how much
Well,
she was
then
in
how the
general.
fuck did you expect people to solve these damn things? Again, here lies more
Find
flaws.
the room faster.
No, don't fucking find the room faster. No, that's
They spent
bullshit.
a lot of time not doing anything.
They
Well,
really
that's not-
did.
Each other around the house like a bunch of. I personally would have started looking on my own. I'm not gonna stay grouped up with everybody in this house the whole time. They were all following each other from room to room.
And well, why would you want to spend time with these fucking people? Like, I didn't bother to remember their names. I probably should have written them down, but like, I didn't care that much. I've just been giving them little nicknames like I do. So yeah, douche nozzle.
That's
That's
what we
Dip,
normally do.
that's Diphthong. This woman, whatever her name is, I've just been calling her the tits.
Because she wasn't wearing a bra.
You know.
No, she
That was
wasn't.
that.
I really think she wasn't that smart to begin with.
No,
Addison.
yeah.
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 I don't know. She was very sassy.
Yeah, I mean, her and Xavier went at it a lot. Like they were at Xavier's like the only door you know how to open is the one between your legs, and I was just like,
Well, he was a royal
whoa.
douchebag. I don't think anyone wanted to get along with him.
No.
Mm-mm.
Can we talk about these tattoos on the back of their necks?
They weren't all tattoos. Some of them were.
None of them were tattoos. They were drawn on with like a.
Well, yeah, whatever.
A permanent, like, freaking. Some of the, like, the one.
Looked like it was shaved in.
It looked like it was shaved. There was one, I think it was on Jonas. It looked like it was, like, done with a highlighter that bleached his skin or something. I don't know.
So so we have these numbers on the back of their neck, so they can't see their own number. But Diphthong, who we are supposed to assume is smart enough to figure this out, I don't believe it for a second, but
He went
noticed
in adrenaline
that-
mode.
Yeah, and then he starts collecting the numbers, and like they point out to him, well, you can't see your own number, so he fucking cuts the skin off of
Another
his
scene.
I
neck.
know.
And I don't know
That was
how the
another
fuck-
scene.
And how the fuck did you do that, dude? Like, you perfectly cut out a square of exactly where you were supposed to do that. Okay.
Without.
That is a little bit of a stretch, and I'm not making a pun on him stretching his skin or anything, but he did also look at every single person's numbers in the house, so he knows approximately where it was on their neck.
He also did kind of try to use the knife as a
Mirror.
like the mirror.
Yeah. I think if he would have tried another angle, he probably would have got it. But
Maybe you would have found
let's just
part
cutting
in
the skin
house
off
that had
the neck.
to.
It's whatever.
Yeah, no, that was bad. That was. I definitely got more cringe moments in this one, and it wasn't like. it wasn't like bad cringes. Like I don't know how to explain. Like the needle part was just, and then like the eye thing. But this one was. It's really good.
I was
This is
more or
probably
less
the
like
least
thinking you were.
glorious movie of all of them.
Uh,
It gets pretty nasty. You
I'm
know?
sure it does.
Yeah.
There's only certain things that get to me. So
This one's quite tame.
gore is not the problem.
I
Usually.
feel
I'm fine with
like
blood and stuff,
there were
but-
just so many characters in this movie all at once that they had to tame down the gore.
Yeah.
That it had to be more of, you survive the gas or you don't kind of thing. That was the gory part about spewing out guts. That's
Oh man!
whatever.
It's like, if we would have got a scene where they actually one of them like bled out, I think that would have turned my stomach.
That's essentially what happened to Addison.
Oh yeah, but it was more like a seizure, and she was spitting up.
No,
Like
no,
it
that
just
was
made me
Laura.
like.
No, that was
Oh Laura.
Yeah, Laura
Which
had the
one?
seizure.
was it?
Addison was the one who had her hand in the traps. She
Yeah.
Oh.
pretty much bled out.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean
No.
like bleeding out of all your orifices and stuff. That
Yeah.
would have been a whole nother.
Where it got to that point with the nerve gas. But I mean, Jonas did have a really bad bout when he was coughing up all that stuff in front of Xavier in the safe room.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah, coughing up blood doesn't get.
No, there was chunks. There was
Oh, I didn't see
fleshy
the
chunks.
chunks.
Yeah,
There was fleshy chunks.
Yeah.
So like, who knows? Maybe it was his esophagus, part of his stomach. I'll just.
Jonas unfortunately met his fate with the spiked baseball bat
Yeah.
to Xavier. They both spent time in the same prison. I think they said it was Jolie.
A lot of them did.
I think all of them had spent the same time in the
But
prison.
who the fuck cares?
Well, I know for sure those two did.
Hmm.
Laura didn't. She spent time elsewhere, and we find out that all of these people, the one thing that they do have in common is they were all framed by Detective Matthews,
Hmm.
including Amanda, and that's legit. Amanda was in fact framed by Detective Matthews. She's the reason why she started doing drugs in the first place. Like Detective Matthews.
Oh, those
is
were
the
probably
cause
her
of it.
needles.
So, Detective Matthews is essentially the reason why Amanda got put in Jigsaw's test the first time. And then this one, she volunteered for. But, yeah. So we find that out. And then they're all stuck in the house with Daniel. And Daniel, there's a poster, X marks the spot. We go back to that from the first movie. There's an X in cracked glass, and on the back of the picture is a photograph of Detective Matthews and Daniel saying father and son. So the few that are left alive in the house at this point now have this to kind of go through. And I know Nikki, one of the things she was upset with was she's like, it's the kid, like you can't take it out on the kid because he didn't do it. It was the father. You can't judge his actions. But criminals?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
You know?
They just think, oh, how can I get back at the person who did this to me?
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it.
And are these people supposed to be likable? I don't know. This is why I'm so
No,
confused.
they're not
No.
supposed to be.
No.
Again,
I mean-
this is why I don't know who to root for in this story.
This is a house full of douche nozzles.
I mean,
The whole house is douche
it's the
nozzles.
same theme in every single one of these movies. Like Adam and Gordon
Did-
are not good people either. You weren't.
I
Did
know.
they
rooting for them in
explain?
the first movie.
Which is, again, one of my problems with this series is I don't fucking care about any single character in this movie. Any of these movies.
Did
There's
they
no good
explain what
people.
Laura did to go to jail?
Which one's Laura?
The blonde.
with the seizure.
Blonde. No.
Oh, Karen from Finance?
Yes.
She didn't. Yeah, they didn't explain
I-
what she did.
I feel like she did something like a hit and run or something, but like
It had to be
feel-
something stupid.
it had to be something really minor.
No, it was.
It-
It was. She was framed. Every single one of them were framed.
Yeah,
by
she was
Detective
framed.
Yeah, but they said there was reasons why they were framed.
Yeah.
That they still were doing bad things. He just
After the fact.
pushed it along.
The result of them being framed labeled them as criminals and led them down bad paths after that.
Mm.
So
Oh, is that the deal? Because it's not.
yeah, well that's what it's implied, you know. That they were all charged with something that they didn't do, and that kind of led them into the life of crime. Spending time in prison hardens you up, turns you into a drug lord, you know, whatever. You see that happen all the time, and it's not going to happen to everybody, but it
No.
does happen quite often. And you see, like, in jail, you see cigarettes become currency, and you become the one in charge of, like, you get access to this stuff, and you're the one in charge. people come to you and like then getting out and having nothing and having a jail record, you're not going to be able to just walk in and get a job anywhere. So he's going to continue to try to go with the same mentality he had in prison.
Yeah.
You know, and that's selling drugs or
I
various things.
know someone personally who has gone through all of that multiple
I
times.
told you not to tell anybody.
Yeah, she was
No,
arrested
Jake.
for possession of drugs, like Carlos says in chat, but we don't know what
Okay.
she did afterwards. They were all framed with some sort of possession of drugs. But yeah, I like the whole thing with the numbers on the back of their necks, because Jigsaw stated, the key to the safe is in the back of your mind, so it's already hinting that
Well,
it's behind you technically.
The back of your mind is not where that is. Never mind.
Yeah, it's close enough.
I get what he's saying, but it does.
Their heads because that's way too noticeable.
Mm.
And then the color, the answer can be the answer is found over the rainbow. So you put the colored numbers in sequence by the order of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv. So
Roy G. Biv.
That's how you find out the order that the numbers are going to go into. So yeah, I don't know if are you guys still there? 'Cause
Yeah,
but I see it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
froze.
everything's
little bit.
freezing up. The whole thing's freezing up. So I kind of like that twist. There we go. Seems like you guys are back now. Nope, still frozen. I don't know.
It's okay. We can keep talking. The audio seems to be fine.
Hopefully. I just don't know if the recording is chopping up.
Messing up, yeah.
Because it seems like my whole computer's frozen. I can't move anything.
Oh dear.
But yeah. Then we had so we spent a lot of time with Jigsaw in this one. I know this is kind of what Kim's been waiting for. So, Kim, what did you think of the insight into Jigsaw?
I honestly was expecting more, but it was interesting to see that, okay, so he tried to kill himself. So I get that. I think he did a stupid way of trying to do it. I'm just gonna roll my car off the side of it, but I don't know. I was really just expecting a lot more than just a simple found out I have cancer and I'm gonna kill myself. And then all of a sudden I respect, I was like, oh well, I value my life, or I value and I want to make sure other people like. He got this huge philosophy, and I felt like it kind of fell out of nowhere almost. Didn't build over time. It just kind of
Yeah, they threw it all on you. One thing I really like about this movie is you go from finding out who the killer is in the first movie and literally knowing practically nothing about him to walking out, and within the first 20 minutes of this movie, they find his hideout, put him in cuffs, and have him, he's under arrest.
That's all intended, though.
No, I know.
yeah, he wanted it to happen.
It's just like
That's usually how serial killers work. Sometimes you don't catch them until they want you to catch them.
But I'm saying from a writing standpoint, literally thrown right into his lair, and we have the guy captured, and you think it's over, right at the start. It's like, what? How do you go from there? And then
No.
as the thing unfolds, you have the problem you have to deal with is in the next room. I have to remain here until you deal with your problem. And it's just like, wait, what? Oh, and then you start realizing, okay, this guy literally had this all planned out. From the moment he said, look closer, Detective Matthews, in Michael's trap, and figured out that the Wilson Steel Company is where Jigsaw's current hideout is. This is clearly a different hideout than the one that Detective Tapp and Detective Singh found. This is a whole different one. So it's like, how many of these does he have? Is he just going into abandoned factories? Does he own them? What's the deal with that? And that we will find out. We will get the answers to that later. But yeah, it's just, I really like the direction the movie went, because you don't expect that. Who going into the movie expected them to cuff Jigsaw within the first 20 minutes of the movie? No one expected that. You know, that's what I like about the series. It always throws you for a loop. So,
I mean, it explains um the condition Jigsaw was in. Now that we know it's been a whole year after the first movie,
mhm.
because he was fine enough to sit in a room without any fluids or anything for how many hours was it? Like 12 or something?
Yeah.
And then he got up and he walked away and he said game over and he was okay. And now he's stuck to a wheelchair with, IV and everything.
Sleepiness.
So, yeah, his condition went downhill real fast.
Yeah, because there's a feature on the DVD that actually gives like a police like a like one of those murder mystery thing, like not murder mystery but the case files, like one of those shows where it actually explains 1 year ago and all
Gotcha.
that. So that is on there, and it just kind of gives a little background of how Detective Matthews was looking into the case and stuff like that. Obviously, he's no longer working on the case. He gave it to Carrie, right? So we're getting a little more information about Carrie. Not too much, but a little bit. We were also introduced to a new guy in charge of the SWAT force, or whatever you want to call that. We get introduced to Riggs. He was the guy that kind of looked.
Can
the
I just
other
say
way
that's
when
like
Detective Matthew barged in with the gun,
Riggs sounds like a typical like SWAT or military nickname.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment I heard it, I was just like, come on. I like
It's
I
something that wasn't so common back then. It's been more common now, but back when the movie first came out, not so much.
I don't know. I've seen a good amount of military war movies, police and there's a lot of, especially even on TV with the CSI series, there are characters that have nicknames like that. And
Right,
they've been
and
going on a long, long time.
don't forget though, CSI was only just coming out when these movies started. So,
These movies are really old.
yeah.
No.
And they get old pretty quick.
CSI was just coming on the air around the time of the first Saw movie. By this movie, and I think it was Saw 3 that really started changing the rating system for the movies, because a lot of stuff that you get to see on CSI changed the rating system for them to allow to show a little bit more and get away with a little bit more to get the R rating. But this was right around the same time as CSI.
Point of the story is he has a stupid nickname.
Yeah, it's short but sweet. Yes, it was a stupid nickname.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. And every time I see Detective Carrie, I always think of Starship Troopers because she's one of the one of the soldiers in there, and
which makes me want to watch that one. I don't know. There's a lot of
my
things.
favorite.
What I bash this movie a lot, but I want to talk about the things that I do like, because there are things that I do like about this movie. I like the I do like the traps in this movie, and I do like the kind of dungeon dwelling mystery solving aspect of it, because like before we were just in one room in the previous film, and which is classic bottle storytelling. But I do like that we are in a bigger space, and we have to go throughout the house and solve these puzzles. I like that. I do like that we do get backstory on Jigsaw, and no matter how fucking stupid it is, it's nice to know your motivation, even if I don't fucking buy it for shit.
So
and I like how it connects to the first film.
They were kind of like in those escape rooms that are all over the place now, except
those are fun.
Yeah,
those are fun, but they don't kill you.
This is literally a life or death escape room.
Someone did a Saw escape room, and it was the first, based off the first movie, and like I wish I could have done it, but then again I kind of don't wish I could have done it, because they try to make it as they try to make it as authentic as possible without having to export yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, and Halloween Horror Nights has started, and they have a Saw maze, and I know that that room is in there somewhere. So I'm going to go there on Friday, and I hope it is disgusting, and hopefully. And they are going to have some things from the new movie that's coming out, so we might get a little sneak peek and a little spoiler alerts of what might be coming to that movie.
Nice. I do like though that they explained, because one of the biggest things that I've heard throughout this series is people are like, yeah, but we never found out about the puzzle pieces that he cuts out of the victims. He literally says in this movie, the puzzle piece is meant to be nothing more than to signify that something is missing.
Mhm.
That's literally all it means. There's no like overall like you can't take all the pieces that were missing from each victim and put them together and get something out of it. You're not no.
Who
This
thought
is-
that?
I mean, like,
People are just crazy
yeah,
out there.
just
That's
I just thought
Fans
I just figured it was a calling card or something.
Yeah, I've heard this all the way up until like Saw 6, Saw 7, or 7 is called Saw 3D, whatever. I've heard this all the way up to that. And I'm just like, no, that's they clearly explained it in Saw 2.
Of all the things you could complain about, that's what you complain about?
Right. So that answer was done here. I think it's a pretty reasonable answer. I like it. It's unique. It is for a serial killer. For a calling card, that's a pretty unique calling card. He does say, and he's very true, I never wanted to be called Jigsaw. That is something that the police and the media have done.
Mhm.
And he says the reason why they do it is the jigsaw piece I cut from my victims. But that's only to symbolize something's missing, not to call me that.
Well, then maybe if you didn't want to be called that, then maybe you should have changed your calling card.
He didn't say that he doesn't mind being called that. He just didn't intend to.
If you fucking cut a jigsaw piece out of somebody, how do you not expect somebody to give you that nickname?
Well, isn't that the case in general? Is with all serial killers, they get nicknames
Yeah, like
from media. Yeah, it had nothing to do
Not
with
this one.
them themselves.
what was Dexter called? He was the Bay Killer or something, or Bay Butcher. Yeah, Bay Harbor Butcher,
Yeah, something.
because all his bodies were found in the Bay Harbor.
Yeah.
I mean, that's usually how they name them. It's the area they murder in, or some sort, or how they murder, or their symbols they use. It's just something.
Jake's holding up Jason Voorhees. That's just his name. That's
Yeah, that's just his name. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that's an example of their killer name is their name.
Yeah. Same thing with Michael Myers. Like Freddy Krueger.
But
those are their
not
names.
real serial killers don't usually go by their names,
Yeah.
except Jeffrey Dahmer. But
Except him. Yeah.
There's a new movie coming out about Jeffrey Dahmer.
About him.
Yeah.
But I will say that backstory of a lot of the characters is not done. Though Jake isn't satisfied with the fact that the answer to motives for killing are explained in the next movie. They are, and it is 100% intended that way. Because these films were all written with the idea, with the exception of the first one, they were all written with the idea that they're going to continue the movies. So they left holes in this intentionally to get answered in the next movie. And they do that all the way down the line. Even Saw 7 has some stuff that you're just like, oh, okay, what the hell?
So it's like a TV show where you have
Exactly.
the mid-season break and you have the end of the season where they leave you with cliffhangers.
Exactly.
And there's all these questions that you need answered, but they're not going to be answered till the next part of the season or to the next season.
Exactly. And as the movies go on, they will do flashbacks to the previous movies to show you exactly where they left these hooks to set things up. That stuff
Gotcha.
will all be revealed, so you'll see it as we go deeper.
No, I've seen it. I just don't care.
And let me correct what I said. Usually, they don't go by their names until they're caught.
Yeah.
Because now I just John Wayne
Jason
Casey, Ed Gein. I can start now. I'm some naming off serial killers. I'll stop because I'm creepy.
Jason lives forever.
And yeah, so they now know that Jigsaw's John Kramer. This is public information now. Like They met him. They have him. You know, they've seen his face, and he's escaped. You know, he took Detective Matthews to the thing. We leave the movie with Detective Matthews chained up in the original Saw basement in the bathroom with a tape from Amanda saying that he's her first test subject, and kind of leaves her, and she kind of leaves him without a real game that we're aware of. Anyway, it's seemingly no game at the end of this movie.
Yes.
So, I will say, and I did show both Nikki and Kim literally the first 10 seconds of the next movie when we were watching, and just to say, it literally starts off where this one ended.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do continue from there, and things get interesting. This next one is really good. I like where this one goes, and there was. We'll talk about this more next movie, but there was a particular way that the writers went with this, which will make more sense after you see it. So, and I can explain it a little bit better then. But yeah, and so I think number 4 is my favorite, and we're getting close. We're 2 weeks away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, this is probably my second favorite. I'm excluding the first one, because that will always be favorite. Like there's no way around that. But I'm saying in terms of sequels, number 4, number 2. That's my order. So.
Okay.
In terms of this though, Kim, overall, how would you rate this movie?
Well, if we're not counting the first one, I mean, I don't know yet because I haven't seen the other ones.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying
But-
rate in order. I'm saying on a scale 1 to 10.
Just as a movie, standalone.
Yeah.
As a standalone movie,
As a standalone, as a continuation, like continuing the story.
I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
I called a bunch of stuff. That was another thing. Not just like the pig female thing, but obviously you started seeing her, you knew. I mean, you're just like, okay, well, so obviously something's going on here.
Yeah.
And I called first that he's got cancer and he's deteriorating. There's no way he can last the entire 8 movies. There's no way.
Well, also keep in mind that the next 7 movies are all taking place back to back to back within a mere matter of days.
Right,
So,
but we know that the 8th movie is 10 years
Mm-hmm.
well, that one's
from the
already
first.
done, yeah.
Right, but the point that I made was that he's got brain cancer.
Right.
He's not gonna live long. I
I
gave him
feel
a
like
year.
he's
I gave
had
him a
a-
year tops.
I feel like the brain cancer is what's killing him, but he has cancer all over his body.
Right, that's why I said he's severe. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Say in the
it's
first movie that it started out as colon cancer. So.
oh well, but it went to his brain.
Right.
Once he got brain, once it's in the brain,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
they literally said he was terminal. He was dying. So I gave him a year. That's what I gave him. That's what I personally gave him in the first movie. And I said, someone else is going to continue this on.
MD, Huffy Puffy.
You know?
Nikki, what are your thoughts on this as a movie?
Okay, so I rated the first one 7 out of 10, and definitely the first one is better than this one. So this one's gonna have a lower rating, and it's below 5,
Really?
probably a 3.5 or a 4.
Wow.
She was crack.
I don't like this series
Wow, you got a huge smile on your face at the end of the movie.
because we called it.
We called stuff. I think that's when we start smiling. Is when we call stuff.
It's
and we're like,
satisfying
yeah.
to call something on a movie that
So
You
you were
just
entertained.
no, I was satisfied with myself.
Jake.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a great job. You got a bigger budget.
They did.
Okay.
Their budget increased dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, that could either be a good thing or a bad thing. It's, well, I want to praise the first movie so much because they had the budget of a ham sandwich, and I still love that movie. This one, they got the budget of a ham and avocado sandwich, and I like it less.
Avocado is expensive.
Avocado is gross.
Do with a side of caviar too. I don't know.
Oh, now you're getting crazy.
Yeah, but I think what's more impressive with this movie than there was with the first movie is the first movie had 3 years to write the movie before they even sat down to start filming it, and then they had like their 19 days or 28 days or whatever of pre-production filming and editing to do the movie. This movie, they had less than a year to write the script, cast the actors, rehearse, film, and edit. To come out
Well, that
As far
explains a lot.
Yeah, as far as writing a script though, like for a first movie, you want to know, you want to sell it. So there's revisions. Like it's gonna take time for a first movie. But once you know what people want, the groove and the genre and the things that people want to see, I don't think writing the script for this was too hard, to be honest. It was more or less, the other things, like you said, the casting and like the special effects and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know.
keeping that all within budget. That's
hmm
that's what's impressive to me. But still, like you may say, oh, it doesn't take a lot of time to write a movie like that. But sit there and try to write a twist
I'm
like
saying
this.
it's
No, I'm just saying.
easier
I'm just saying,
after
try
the
to.
first one.
But after that, like you have to try to like the twist is the staple of the first movie, right? That's what made the whole movie. Let's be real about that. If there was no big twist like that at the end of the movie, no one would have cared about that movie.
Nope.
So you have to kind of maintain that because it's such a staple now of the franchise. You have to maintain a twist. So now you have to think every time you go to write, you have to write this huge twist in. And the twist is pretty much going to define the movie. So if you fuck the twist up, you fuck the whole movie up. So to write a twist, work it all in, and fit it within the universe, and like link it back to the first movie, and that's the most important part, is to tie it back in. And have Detective Matthews be the reason that Amanda was in, the trap in the first place, and then as Kim pointed out, the pig was a female, right? That was set up in the first movie, right? And now we're finding out he's got a female accomplice. So now the pieces are starting to fall together. Like, things that we didn't think of in the first movie, not everybody did, anyway. Like, there's people that went completely blissfully through the first movie, not even questioning the gender of the pig, right?
I'm the only one that's going.
But now
I'm
we're
sizing
approaching the
this
second,
pig up.
The writing it went back and filled in gaps to a lot of these questions that we have, and it will continue to do so all the way through, and that's what I love about it.
The
Well,
reason
you
I
know-
paid so much attention to her, in general, was because the strangly ass hair and the pig face is because in other things that is the representation, can be the representation of a demon. So that's why I kind of was drawn to try to figure that out, and then it went from there as I continued to pay more and more attention.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna say something, Jay?
What was I going to say? I don't know.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I lost it. No, it's back. Okay, so I will say I do like the twist of this movie, and it's hard to follow up the twist from the last movie. I will say that I've seen this type of twist before. Not to say that it's bad. I do like it. Well, the multiple twists that were in this movie, and I will say that the twist makes it better. But see, the thing is, Dom, you mentioned that if you fuck up the twist, you fuck up the movie. But also, if you fuck up the movie, you fuck up the movie, and they did. So,
You forgot to leave.
I mean, like, I think I can condense my entire thoughts of the series in one sentence, and it's that I don't care about anybody. And that's the major problem for me going as we continue on with this. I don't care about anybody. There's not one character in this series that I don't look at and say, yes, you are the defining character of this series, and this is why I like you. I can't do that. As in with Friday the 13th, I can say that I love Jason, and I think everybody loves Jason, but there are other characters in the series, other than Jason, that I can say, I love you, and you were the best part of this movie.
Yeah, I can't say that Saw is a movie that you invest in loving the characters. It's more of a movie that you have to put yourself in their shoes, kind of. And I think that's what a lot of people do, is they put what if I was in this trap? How would I, and it's stuff like that that
No, I
kind
can't
of-
do that to myself.
that kind
Well,
of lures people to it.
You can't really, because they're except one of the characters. It's kind of like who's the lesser evil in any of this. I don't think we're really supposed to attach ourselves to any characters.
Yeah, and I feel
Really?
like, that's my problem too. Like I'm there with you, Jake, saying that, I can't connect myself to any one of these characters and say I like you because of this reason.
And I don't even necessarily
Um,
have to like you. I just got to be interested, and I'm not.
um, and I see this in a lot of shows that I watch that, I invest a lot of time in. There will be characters that I absolutely love, and there will be characters I hate because they're stupid and I can't, and like I look at the Saw movies and I can't like Jigsaw because he's the murderer. He's the one that's doing all the bad. And then he's taking all these other bad people and putting them in situations that are almost impossible to get out of. And I'm supposed to root for them to live when they're
No.
douchebags?
No, you're not.
No, exactly. And that's why I just can't focus
Not-
because
you
I
don't always
have to have.
root for someone.
You don't have
I-
to,
no, you
but
don't have to, but I
at
feel
the
like I
very
have to.
least have to be invested, and I'm not invested. That's my
Like,
main problem.
I
I'm
mean, the only
necessarily
character
like-
that I'm slightly invested in is Detective Carey because I like her in another movie.
It's a terrible reason.
So I like Jigsaw because I just do. But
He's very
because
intelligent.
I'm
He
creepy
is.
like that. But
so intelligent that he can't kill himself correctly.
well, sometimes when you're in that state, you don't think, you just do
Yeah.
stupid shit. But
That he did.
but when it comes down to like, okay, so when he puts, just for instance, with the first movie, when he puts two people against each other, you pick the lesser evil. Okay, I think sometimes, or you root, or like, okay, right now you're being a douche, so I don't like you. But like in this case, in this one, Xavier can go eat a dick. I picked someone I hated. That was what I went for, the person I hated the most out of this one, and it was Xavier.
I don't know. Detective Matthew. I hate the dirty cop characters. I can't stand them
That's
at
why
all.
he got picked.
I know.
Yeah, that's why you did exactly.
I know, but like
And
I
that's-
really didn't care what was happening in the house at certain points. I was more like, Matthews, you're an asshole. Just
Yeah.
fucking sit there. You'll save your son. But no, he's like, oh, and he stomps off.
See,
And I'm
me
like,
personally, I root for the twist. Right? That's
The
that's
twist
my,
is the character.
That's my investment of the movie. Is I like the twist so much that everyone that I see, my goal is to try to figure it out before it happens. Right?
okay. Well, for people who don't try to figure it out, they have to wait till the fucking end of the movie after enduring this bullshit.
But
So-
then they reveal it in a way that it's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's not meant to make you feel stupid, and they don't do it. It doesn't come off that way when they do it. You know, it's
Didn't say it
shows
was
you-
stupid.
I didn't say you did. I'm saying they don't make the viewer feel stupid, like they're an idiot for not figuring it out. They do
No,
it
but
in
I
a way-
feel like I lost half of my brain cells after watching
they
it.
do it in a way that it's like, oh, that was really intelligent. That makes sense. I see that now. I see where he was going with that. Like, in a safe and like, even Nikki at the end when he goes in a safe, she was like, a safe. Like she's like, oh, like she's like, I hate your wordplay right now.
I wanted to freaking kick him in the balls. I don't care. Kick his cancerous balls. I wanted to do it.
So
See, I'm spending the whole movie picking out like clues and things, and like me watching, him take the little turn knob off the thing and toss it across the floor. And I'm looking for all those little subtle,
Yep.
stupid,
now, if
like
you
just
were paying
little
closer
things.
attention, you would have saw actual props from the house hanging on the back of the walls. Not just drawings, but actual props in the house. The baseball bat with the spikes on it, Jigsaw had that in the house, kind of hinting to you it already happened. That stuff was all hanging up in the background of his lair. So if you were paying really,
Oh, I
really,
didn't
really close
see
attention,
that.
you
Ooh.
would have saw these things laying around. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
And that's how you properly build up a twist.
Yeah.
Is when, after a second viewing, you can see where they have planted the seeds, or maybe you figured them out for yourselves.
Yeah.
But that alone does not save the franchise for me. Just because things have to be, so things don't necessarily have to be likable, they just have to be meaningful, and none of this means anything to me. But I can still say that I appreciate the writing, at least the good writing that goes into these movies. And, these movies are cheaply made. With the budget that they have and the resources that they have, they turn out some pretty good work.
Yeah. And especially...
for what it
in
is.
terms of a horror genre, especially one that's 7 movies deep.
I
Freddy
don't feel like it's
and-
horror though. I feel it's more of a thriller.
It's a sub genre of horror.
It is.
It's not meant to scare you. It's meant to.
It's
meant to make
psychological scare.
No, it's
This
not even
could
that.
really happen. This literally could really happen.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You know,
But it's the
somebody
same-
could
it's the
copy
same-
him and do exactly what he does here. Lock you in a warehouse, put you in these traps that are pretty realistic. Like, you think about it, anything that happened in this movie and the first movie, they're not out of the realm of possibility. Somebody could do all of this.
It's the same concept as some slashers movies. They're not meant to actually scare you. Some of it's gore and just meant to turn your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you have, like, Freddy and Jason, and they're more dealing with, like, the supernatural elements. You know?
Well,
Like, Jason is this guy that's, like, unkillable. You can shoot him as many times as you want, all this stuff, and he just keeps coming. That's very unrealistic. That would never, ever happen.
yeah, but I actually
everything
like
that he's in except the whole Jason in space. We'll just ignore that one, but everything else.
Jason in Space is awesome. No, it's not, but it's fucking ridiculous, and that's why I like it. But
But then Freddy, you have Freddy attacking you in your dreams, and whatever happens in your dream happened in real life. That's very unrealistic. Like, none of that would ever happen.
here's the thing about Jason, though,
the Saw
is
movies,
Jason.
They literally
like,
can. They literally can happen, and that's what's
Well,
scary about them.
Well, the first Friday the 13th movie can happen, and this is why I like the first Friday the 13th movie so much, is because if you don't know the twist of that movie, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
For the people who know, people know who Jason is, and they don't have to see the movies to know who Jason is. But for the people, and so many people who I've known, who have not even seen the first Friday the 13th movie, their faces like fucking drop when we get to the end.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's awesome.
For sure. So, I don't know. That's what I like about this, because this is grounded in reality, as opposed to a lot of the other horror genres. Chucky.
But that's more fun.
Yeah, Chucky.
Chucky.
My favorite horror franchise ever, Jeepers Creepers. As cheesy as some of those movies can get. I just love the Creeper himself. I think he's fantastic as like a character. He's very unique. But
Okay, next time we should just all have a podcast about our favorite slashers.
Yeah. And then we literally, like, we're dealing with somebody who's so grounded in reality here that there's a weak, frail individual that's just, like, very mentally intelligent. And you look at that even in a lot of, like, superhero comics and stuff like that. Sometimes
It just got weird down there.
Having the superpowers and everything don't mean anything. It's the ones that deal with the strong mental challenge that gives them the biggest problem. Look at Batman and the Riddler, for example. And I'm not talking about Batman and the Riddler in the Jim Carrey movie. I'm talking about
The original Riddler.
in the comic books. Like, he is a huge foe for Batman, and arguably second in line with the Joker, in terms of that. So.
Elvira.
It's Elvira.
So
Oh, that's awesome.
They're going on a date. It's really nice.
So, final question before we go on, and this is really to Nikki and Kim because Jake's already seen them. But what would you like to see going forward? Questions that we haven't answered yet, things that we haven't seen yet.
Well, we know again, but I know we talked about the reason why we don't see Dr. Gorgon. But at least know we could at least give us some details of what. Did he live? Did he bleed out as he crawled across the floor?
Yeah.
We still don't know that.
But we may get some answers moving forward.
I think that's the only thing I'm actually really wondering about. Everything else is like, all right, just throw it at me and I'll respond to it as it happens, kind of thing.
To be honest, like I said, I picked out a lot of stuff. So at this point, it's obviously now we have a technically new killer. Other than we still, as the movie ended,
Training.
Jigsaw was still alive.
Right.
Yeah, well, yes, he
Beaten
was.
to a pulp, but
bleeding
smiling
and
in the
smiling.
corner while Detective Matthews is screaming.
Because he won.
Yeah, he did win.
So
And
to
that's
see
that's another reason why some of these are my favorite movies ever. It's because bad guys don't usually win.
This one does.
another reason why I root for Jigsaw, because I like it when the
It's the reason why Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars movie. The bad guys won. Han Solo's frozen in carbonite, and Jabba wins.
no one wants Jabba to win.
Yes.
All right, so I guess that does it.
First.
Stupid HUD.
Where can people find you?
Twitter is at HUFFITY, PUFFITY.
That's one of my favorite podcast songs. Nikki, where can people find you?
Wow. On Twitter at LadyVenom24, LADYV.
Oh, mine are back there.
VENOM24.
That's probably the scariest villain that I've seen. Yeah, look at that. Ugh. Lost that. Jake, where can people find you?
You can find me and Jason and all of my giggles and gore and monsters and mayhem here on YouTube at Jacob Salazar. You can find me on Twitter at TweetMeGodWeek.TheLife at TweetNoWherland. That is TONOWHERELAND. Join the Nowherland Society. Jason will be there waiting for you.
That is my other favorite song.
With hugs? Not stabs, right?
That's Debbie's story.
Okay.
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. And you can find us all and more on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTV Podcast, which is both podcasts with some of your favorite TV shows, games, and movies. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Why are you still waving?
Because I can.
No one can see you.
Not the point.